Hi, welcome into another episode here on the Capture Guru. It's great to be back and talking to you guys again. And today I just want to chat to you about something a little bit different, something we don't often discuss, something I think as photographers maybe don't discuss enough or talk about enough. And that's about how we can use our business and our time and our photography to create wealth. And there's a very interesting discussion around wealth and what is wealth and how we build wealth. And in this time in COVID, and I'm just sitting here, by the way, in my Airbnb that we can't use at the moment because we're in lockdown. So that's another income stream that we've lost, as well as our photography. So for me, I've been thinking, what is it that we need to do as creatives, photographers, small business owners, to generate wealth? And I've used this time to look at a lot of different things. I've tried some new things. We've got our collaborators group that we've done some amazing interviews, and I've really learned a lot from the different people there. But on this particular topic, I think Daryl Clayton and Grant Hines are two that I think you should really watch, because they both show you Grant shows you how you can use your business to create other opportunities out there, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch or TikTok and all these different things. Daryl talks about how to create businesses and how to develop your business. One of the things that we're wanting to do on the collaborators group is with Daryl is create a book called Men Can Bake, and it's a great photographic assignment. I'm really excited to do it, but when I thought and I spoke to Daryl about it, I thought, oh great, we can do a book, and that's wonderful, there's a book. Whereas Daryl didn't think that. He thought completely different. He said, hang on, we can do a book, and we can do a TV series, and we can do a YouTube channel, and we can do create merchandise, we can do all this. And so what he was saying is that Men Can Bake can become a brand. It can be something that we can develop, much like what I'm trying to do with Capture Guru, or building courses is another one that I'm trying to do, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later. So I've been thinking, how do you do this? I've looked at lots of different options, and then last night I'd been on a webinar with a live webinar where I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki, very well-known author. He has built his brand, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talks about how you create wealth and what wealth is. And there were some things while I was editing it, and because there was a lot of talking between the host and him, I just wanted the main features of that particular webinar. I just wanted the critical points, things that I could learn from. And I learned so much in editing it, funny enough, because I had to really concentrate on what he was saying. And it was a great opportunity to really understand what he was getting at. And he made a really important point. You don't measure wealth by how much money somebody's got, you measure it by time. And what he means by that is that how long can you live or continue in your lifestyle without working? And if you can live for years and years and years and continue for 20 years, you're incredibly wealthy. But you might have a huge amount of money, earn a massive salary, earn a huge day rate for your shoots, but you've got a house, you've got a mortgage, you've got payments on your cars, you've got kids at school, you've got all sorts of things, and that costs a huge amount of money. And at the end of the day, are you earning enough money to last you 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years? I don't know. And most people who are the same as what I'm doing, earning a good income on time, have no wealth. Yeah, we charge a fair rate for our time, but we've built no wealth. And most people in small businesses and most employees, people working for companies, never grow wealth. And that's because they can't live for a long period of time without earning an income, or they can't live the lifestyle for a large period of time. And that's become so prevalent in this time of COVID-19, where there are so many people out there who are desperate to get back to work, who are desperate because there is no income. And I don't blame them. I mean, I need to get back to work. We all need to get back to work. And so I've looked at all of these things, and actually, funny enough, this has been mostly one of the most positive times in my life, this COVID time, because I've had to rethink. I've had to rethink what's important to me. I've had to rethink, what am I going to do to make sure I don't land up in the situation again where I can't provide for my family because we don't have enough income, because the jobs have dried up. My last income is coming in tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 1st. That's the last check coming in. After that, there's nothing, and I'm in lockdown now completely, unlike other people who are moving to start working, because I came into contact with somebody with COVID, and I have to, being told, we have to go into complete isolation, not even allowed to go to the shops to buy food, because we've been in contact with somebody. And that could happen to any one of you guys. There are so many people wandering around that you might end up meeting somebody and then being told, no, you have to stay in isolation and you'll have to cancel your shoots and go back into lockdown, and really you'd be in a problem like I'm in. So I've looked at different ways, and I listened to what Robert Kiyosaki had to say, and I listened to Daryl, and I listened to Grant, and I listened to people like that, how they building wealth. And I think Robert Kiyosaki really hit the nail on the head with his idea of what wealth is. But his main concern is that none of us have been educated on what money is all about. The fact that money and the way we look at money, and by owning a lot of money, doesn't mean we build wealth, because money is something that's soft. It's something that devalues. All currencies devalue. That's what inflation is. They devalue over time. And you might have saved a whole lot of money. And believe me, I know what this is like, because I saved a whole lot into pension funds and endowment funds and all sorts of things. Came down to wanting to, they matured so I could get the money out, and they had no growth. And if you took the value, the deflationary value of the currency into account, they were actually worth less now than what I had put into them. So it just didn't work. And that's what he says. He says he doesn't invest anything that's money related. He doesn't invest into endowments. He doesn't invest into RAs. And what he says, that is what the traditional schools and universities and people with PhDs and all that sort of stuff teach us. That's what we should be doing. They don't teach us what real wealth is. And he strongly believes that the school system needs to change. Now, I've always been a great believer that there needs to be a change, because I've even in just speaking to the people recently on the collaborators group where we've been doing these interviews, every creative seems to have the same thing. Oh, I was never understood at school. People didn't know, you couldn't understand me. I thought differently to everybody else. Because the schooling system and the universities and everything are very much catered for one type of person. And yet, if you're that way inclined and you want to become a doctor, and we need doctors, we need accountants, we need everybody, and people doing jobs in companies, we need all these people to do these things, and there's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is that none of them are creating wealth. They're just earning money. And they're all landing up in the same problem as we as photographers are doing. So what he said is that if you look at a diagram where there are 4 quadrants, you've got your employees over here. Below that, you've got your small businesses, your PhDs, your doctors, your accountants, your photographers, all your professions and professionals. And then on the right-hand side at the top, you've got your big business and your brands, and below that you've got your investors. Now, what most people don't realize is the bulk of taxes and the bulk of people who are paying the bulk of the taxes are the small businesses, the professionals, and the employees. Big business and brands, people who've developed huge brands, pay very little tax because the government incentivizes them to employ people, to employ lots of people. And the more people they employ and the more they build their business, so they get more and more tax incentives, and so they pay less tax. And your investors, the guys who are clever investors, not people who are investing in RAs and pension schemes or money-related things, people who are investing in commodities, things like gold, silver, crypto, things like that. They're building wealth and they're paying no tax. And it's not that they're wrong or it's illegal what they're doing. They just know how the system works. They know how to play the game. Yeah, they know what you need to do to pay as little tax as possible and to invest in things that are going to grow. So they will invest in businesses that they can see there's a brand I'm going to invest in. Robert Kiyosaki has built an enormous brand, Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know, his books are well known throughout the world. People read his books. People talk to him about his Rich Dad Poor Dad brand, and he makes a good living out of that. And from that, he invests in things like gold, silver, and he's also now advised in crypto. He calls gold and silver God's money, and he calls crypto people's money. Although the one thing he does put a proviso in on crypto, one's got to be really careful because there are a lot of fake coins out there, so one's got to be careful. But gold is a very stable commodity. If you can buy gold, you're generally always going to do well. And so what he said is we need to rewire our brains. We need to rethink how we do things. We need to rethink the way we work. We need to re-educate ourselves. And in this time in lockdown, that's what I've done. That's why I've been listening to these webinars. I've gone out and researched different businesses. I've gone and researched how I can take my photography knowledge, my intellectual property, and turn that into a brand. Turn that into something that, not to build wealth, but by building wealth means that I'm also supplying something that's going to benefit people. Yeah. So I've looked at doing courses. We're going to be putting out some really great courses where people can learn different things on the different aspects of photography. And there are lots of you guys out there who could be looking at, what is your brand? How can I extend my brand? How can I get my brand to be earning me something while I'm sleeping or growing in value? How can I build it? Not just earning money by the hour. What can I do? Am I going to build, get prints out there and sell them, or am I going to build, like what Daryl did with the book? Am I going to get be able to do a book and build merchandise and create a brand behind what you're doing? And then on the other side is we need to open our minds, and we, as Robert Kiyosaki says, we need to rewire ourselves to think differently, to look at other opportunities, to look at doing things that will allow us to do our photography without worrying whether we're actually going to be able to survive if we land up in a problem, if we have another COVID or something like that. So I looked at a whole lot of things that I really wanted to do. So I mentioned a couple, building my brand, building my courses. I found a company where I can invest and buy gold and buy crypto. So that was another means. I'm not doing that full time, but I've looked at other ways of generating income. Yeah, I've also thought in this time I really need to re-educate myself, and it's been difficult. Constantly I speak to people and I say, oh, we've got to look at doing this, and have you looked at this, and what about this? Oh, no, you must do this, and this is the conventional way of doing things. And I got an investment that I've been putting in a reasonable amount of money every month into an investment. The investment that I've been doing for the last year with the largest investment company in the country is actually, in actual real terms, worth less than what I put into it. Not taking inflation or anything into account. It's worth less. And I did the calculation that if I put that money into gold, into pure gold, every month, the same amount of money, I would have had at least, actually more than that, more than half over the year in the value in what I invested. So the one was less than the actual amount, and the one was more than half of what I put in. in 1 year. So we really need to think and look at how we can do things differently. And what I'm liking about this is it's going to give me time to really do what I want to do. I want to be a photographer. I really love fine art photography and painting. That's what I really, really want to do. So this has given me the opportunity to be able to do that. I can do what I love. I can do my passion. And I'm going to build on that, and I'm learning. I'm not there yet. It's going to take time. Anybody who's going to try and sell you a quick, get rich quick scheme, you know, buy this here and you're going to be driving a Ferrari tomorrow, or you're going to earn $30,000 in the first month or whatever, forget about it. If that was the case, all of us would be doing it. All of these things that I'm doing are hard work. I'm working at the moment. I worked out the other day an average between 12 and 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, building these things to get myself on the right footing. And everyone I've spoken to, in all of these things, it's hard work. It's not something that you can just do overnight and it's going to happen. And that's the way it should be. So what I'd like everybody to do is to look at, open your mind to coming up with different ideas. Think about different ways of securing your passion, securing your family, securing that no matter what happens, we can have another COVID and it doesn't matter. There are guys out there that I've been talking to who are saying, hey, I made more income and I'm living absolutely fine throughout this period because they've built wealth. Whereas a lot of us who are on the left side of that quadrant that Robert Kiyosaki talks about are getting to a point now where we're running out of savings, we're running out of income. And people are going to get retrenched. There's huge retrenchments. I can't believe the amount of retrenchments and companies closing down at the moment. What's going on in the world is frightening. You know, you get a retrenchment package, 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever your retrenchment package is. What are you going to do after that? Everybody's going to be looking for jobs. So you've got to look at a different way of doing things. We've got to talk amongst each other. We've got to help each other. We've got to, you know, any one of you guys can message me, phone me, and I can tell you what I'm doing. I'll share it with you anytime. And look at doing things differently. Look at different ways of working. And if we can get that community right, like we do, we discuss cameras and we discuss lenses and we discuss shoots and things. We need to get together. We need to discuss this to make sure that going forward, and I'm talking now to the photographers because that's the community I am in, but also the small business people, the designers and that, to make sure that we all can secure our income going further. We don't want to be in this position anymore, and we can do it. There is a way to do it, but we need to work together. We need to work as a community. So I really appeal to all of you to let's start discussing, and I'm open to talk to anybody. DM me, set up a Zoom call, or I'll write you a mail, tell you what we're doing, help you if I can. You can also give me advice on what you're doing. I'm really battling with how to build my channel, you know, how to get social media going and how to talk to people. It's new to me. I'm from a different generation. But there's such good people out there that we all can help each other and do better at what we're doing. And make sure that we don't land up in a situation where we can't provide for ourselves and our loved ones and that we can't do our passion. Hey guys, if you'd like a link to the webinar, just write a message, send me a message, or make comments in the comments section below, and then I'll get hold of you and I'll send you a link to where you'll be able to see the Robert Kiyosaki interview. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, and do all the necessary things that one needs to do to make sure that we can build this community and get a lot of people following us here at the Capture Guru. Thanks very much.